nearly an hour in, Matt, and we're only getting on to the Limerick
Jack,
Hurlers.
we're not used to talking about defeats.
No, that's why I left. That's why I left the win till the end, because I wanted to
Yeah,
finish
so
on a good note.
we're going to finish on a high note, Jack.
Yeah, 24 points to 19. It finished in Salthill last Sunday between Limerick and Galway. I was at it, and I must say the atmosphere was a strange atmosphere. There was 12,000 there. There was a nice crowd there. It was a lovely day. It was lovely and dry. You had some of the best hurlers in Ireland on the field, but just never really got going. Now maybe it's a case like Clare the previous week. Limerick just totally overawed their opponents in the first half. It was 14-7 at half time. You could tell from the start there was a couple of players in that kind of mood for Limerick. Kyle Hayes threw over 3 from wing back. Tom Morrissey had 5 from play, was man of the match. Shane O'Brien, Peter Casey got a couple each. Cian Lynch got 3 from play. That Limerick was firing all cylinders, and Galway couldn't really live with them. But Limerick let Galway back into the game. They let Clare back into the game. That game was over. The one against Clare was definitely over. But it's definitely something Limerick can work on. Now, it's probably a good thing that they have something to work on this early in the year, but it's a strange trend from this team that are so used to winning.
It is a strange thing, and I was reflecting on it before coming on, Jack, and they left Cork into it in the second half, having been 8 points up.
Yeah.
And having been outstanding in the first half. As you rightly said, they left Clare back into it. And now they've left Galway into it. But of course, the one heartening thing about it, apart from the Cork game, and they had regrouped against Cork, were it not for that point by Shane Kingston at the very end. They regrouped and closed out the game when they were under a bit of pressure. Maybe, Jack, it might be the worst thing that have happened against Clare and Galway, that they got something of a test.
Yeah.
Because were they to continue and win the game by 12 or 14 points each, you wouldn't earn as much from it as if you were tested. And certainly they were tested in that spell when Waterford or Galway hit 6 points in a row. And it'll give John Kiley and his management team absolutely food for thought. And, in many ways, in a quirky way, Jack, they might welcome it. But when Limerick got in full flow, Jack, there's only one word, and it's awesome. You reference Kyle Hayes there, Jack. Fantastic performance in the first half. Cian Lynch, wonderful to see Cian Lynch back for the last two games, part game against Cork and against Clare. But the real Cian Lynch was in Galway. He's getting there back to his very, very best, But what about Tom Morrissey, Jack? We've spoken, if you go back in this cast a number of times, about the capabilities of Tom Morrissey. Absolutely fantastic. 5 points from play, took over the free-taking duties, and I think apart from one was unerring, and it probably wasn't in the script that he would be, just like the previous week, it wasn't in the script that Micheál Houlihan would be taking the frees. So, Jack, overall, notwithstanding that late blip, as we'd call it, overall it was a day and a performance laced with positivity.
Yeah, there was
again, it shows, Jack, that Limerick, in terms of the league, are much further down the road in terms of their preparation than they were this time 12 months.
Definitely. And you mentioned a couple of lads there.
Limerick have put themselves, Jack, in a very, very strong position of making the league semi-finals. Now, they go to Westmeath on Sunday week, and it's a game that you would be expecting them to win before. They'll host Wexford in a double-header at the Gaelic grounds the week after, when Kildare footballers would also be in the Gaelic grounds. So I think they're in a very strong position. I was just looking at the league, Jack. You know, there was a narrative going around after 2 rounds that the semi-finalists from the group would be Cork and. I don't think that's as clear cut now.
Yeah, it's down to the Clare game, really.
Because I put it to you this way now. Clare have 2 home games, and we know the cauldron that Innes is. And they're home to Galway and home to Clare and home to Cork. Were they to win those 2 games, Clare are virtually certain to be in the semi-final because of the huge scores that they ran up against Westmeath and against Wexford last week. Now, if Limerick win their 2 games, they'll be on 8 points. And if Cork beat Wexford, they'll be on 8 points. Now, Cork may be behind the 8 ball here because of the fact, and again, no disrespect to Westmeath, that they only beat Westmeath by 6 points.
Yeah, and it'll come down to that Clare game.
Like, you know, we have this talk about the league running into the championship. In terms of that, it'd probably be more suitable for Cork to get to the league final than anybody else, for the simple reason that they have a bye in the first round of the Munster Championship, which gives them that extra week.
Yeah.
So
that is
there's
important.
probably a very, very interesting finale to that. But the thing about it is, Jack, Limerick are right in the mix.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Do you think Limerick want to be in the mix? Do you think that was the goal at the start of the year, to be in the mix for a league semi-final place? Because in 2020, they won every game they played. They won league, championship, Munster and All-Ireland. 2021, they kind of stuttered through the league, finished with 5 points, 5 out of 10, halfway. And last year, they couldn't buy a win till they came to Offaly and still won the All-Ireland in all those years. So, do you think, before a ball was thrown in, do you think John Kiley had targeted the league, or how do you think they went about it? Because looking at it, they are going to qualify.
Listening to the Morrissey brothers, Dan and Tom, immediately after the match on the RTE interview, Jack, they were absolutely adamant that Limerick go out to win every game.
Yeah. But do you think that is the from Kiley and Kinnerk's point of view? Obviously, they want players playing well and they want to give lads a chance. But do you think they'd be happy to be in a league final 2 weeks before Waterford in the championship?
They'd be happy to be in a league final. But I'm not so sure that they'd be happy that it's only 2 weeks before the championship.
Yeah, I suppose it's catch-22. But as we said, Limerick are probably in a position to play. I don't think Limerick have an under-strength team, if you get me. I don't think they have players to go out and be under-strength. But you know what I mean, that they could probably play fringe players in a league final and know that they could still possibly and probably win that game. But
I think we'll get a sense of that now with the team selection for the game with Westmeath, Jack.